Hello to everyone. In this space, I will share an example of a data science project, a simplified data science project related to hard luxury of Paris housing. As we can see, it is located on my personal GitHub, in which I share different technologies, different code projects. If you are interested, you can see to look more. This is the principal screen. I first share some studies, some statistics, um, some articles that illustrates this context, because in every data science project it is important to know the context behind the project, behind the data. After that, we can see the dataset that is located with a CSV format. You can see all the data, the categories that were related to characteristics of housing properly of Paris, such as square meters, number of rooms, floors, inclusively if the housing has or the house has kind of pool, inclusively city code, city park, and other related to this. In this, the readme, it is the principal explanation, and I enumerate the stages related to the data science and an analysis process. As we can see, the first one is to clean the data, all the data set. As we can see, I first import modules of Python. All this code, all this project is made by Python. It is a disclaimer. The first of all, I continue with that, is that I import a model such as Panda, Matplot to work and clean with the data. As we can see in NumPy, and transform all the different characteristics of the data to prepare the project with that. And in this, it is just description of the variables, description of the characteristic of the data related to the context that I mentioned before. As we can see, there are some subcategories, all the process step by step in the steps of the code. I first extract missing values, duplicate rows, made a box plot to understand the data. After that, it is important to the data types to understand the columns, how it is integers, float to make more efficient code. After that, it is important to inconsistence or values that doesn't have match with other values, or values that doesn't have our real meaningful data that we can use. After that, it is important to transform the data. As we can see, some of the results, as we can see, all the processes explained step by step. If you want, you can read it more quietly. After that, I make some data science and data engineering process. With data science, in this step, I refer to hypotheses to test different ideas on the data that can be proved if it is reality or not, to extrain real value of this data, because for every project it is important to extract the value, the insights, and what is applicable in real context, in business context in this case. After that, we can see hypothesis one, that is that it is if the pool and houses have certain relation with price. If a house has a pool, the most common is that this house will be more expensive, has a higher price probably. It can be tested that this hypothesis is real. After that, the second one is if the house is newer, the price is higher. This in the real life is almost most of the time, most of the times, a reality. It is true. We look at that with a scatter plot, the hypothesis 3. As we can see, the numbers of rooms, it is correlated with the price. Probably that will be true. In this case, we can see that they are with the data that are treated in this project. It is not can see a direct relation between these two variables. And the fourth hypothesis is if the houses are classified as luxury, have more floors average than houses classified as basic. This hypothesis is not clear at all because we don't know if luxury will be related with the city zone or with the materials or inclusively with other things that are not related with the space of the house. As we can see, this hypothesis is not really true. I put a conclusion of this hypothesis to know and understand better the data. We can make inclusively some forecasting hypotheses, and we play the data with other data and trying probably a machine learning model or reinforcement learning model, as we can see in the step 4, that which I will show in some moment. After that, I present the data engineering process that are made before the data cleaning, as it is specified. First is to organize the time series analysis. As we can see, this is the code and explanation. The database storage, it can be storage with this constraint in a connection with SQL to organize data in a SQL database or Oracle or something like that, or Azure, and process the data with Python code. After that, it is show a proposal of automation and a pipeline that can be used to treat all the data, to ingest, clean, transform, all the process that we made before, but with a pipeline and more automatized in certain way. As we can see, this is the code explanation. We can see this diagram that explains the schedule of the pipeline and how it works. This is the explanation, and the pure code, it is in this page. As we can see, are the code that I mentioned before, related with time series. After that, we can see this is the data science. This is the connection with SQL to optimize with a database and organize it. After that, the automation and pipeline, and all of the code behind that. After that, we can see data analysis because it is important. One of the final ones process that are made before diagrams or illustration are all these process related to Power BI or Tableau. In this case, in this project, I don't make Power BI or Tableau. In my YouTube channel or my LinkedIn, I show you other projects that are related more with data visualization and all the strategies that are used in the context of illustrate better and communicate better an idea, a business idea, or analysis or hypothesis, scientific, academic, whatever it is helpful to know how to illustrate and how to use a good communication strategy to show all these graphics. In this case, as we can see, this is the explanation, this is the distribution of house, the distribution of house categories, this is price, and after that is categories. After that, we can see price distribution between basic and luxury houses. As we can see, there are very similar, but are different in some kind of houses, kind of data. We can see that price are directly correlated with square meters, the number of houses with specific features such as pool, jar, or storm protector. You can see there are 5,000 in most of the case, near to 5,000. In this case, there are 4,900 related and near to this data. Probably it will be helpful to put some kind of tag to illustrate the number exact of houses. After that, we can see how the number of previous owners might affect property value. As we can see that if a house has more previous owners, the price declines. And this conclusion, every section has some kind of conclusions because it is important to analyze and make conclusions that resume all the process. And after that, we can see behind that the code that you can put in Python console or IDE probably, such as Visual Studio or whatever. You can see the PLT, all the figures that are made with Matplot, as you can see, and pandas. And after that, this is a step that I really like, is the AI and machine learning process. It is a simplified machine learning model. Probably will be better to make it directly with a GPU if it was more data. But in this case, I propose with TensorFlow in my properly computer, my properly machine, because there are not too much data. There are some near to 100,000 data, probably 15 variables. For this reason, it was necessary to use a GPU to optimize this process. And the code is simple to explain. It is to import TensorFlow model and try to find the data to analyze and classify the different data and different luxury or not luxury houses. Inclusively, we can evaluate the different hypotheses through machine learning model, in which we can upload more and more data that we can use in a future project to reuse this code. If you want, you can use this code. I put this completely open source for whatever and whatever of those who needed to have ideas to how to make the design, machine learning, data process, to implement this in other projects related to housing or luxury. I recommend it, or just simply to learn how to do it. And after that, we can see the code, TensorFlow, inclusively a model of Keras that use the tensor behind explain it to make an activation related to this part, and this is a this is something that configure the model to train the data process in shape related to one. After that, compile the model, train it, all of this, and we can see all of the save and the prediction. This is not the all the process that we can make with a prediction. We can make too much more, but I made some simplified project, as I mentioned before, to just illustrate some macro concepts in this data process and different areas can integrate or are related. After that, after the final, I put some final recommendations related with the data, such as market trends and price dynamics. As we know, housing market and real estate has some vulnerability with the macroeconomic tendencies and the price dynamics, interest rates, and all of this. Feature importance and housing attributes, the data-driven decision making. As we can see, all the process make and allows us to implement well-based and structured decision and action process. Database and data storage recommendation, such as use SQL database, or if you prefer, NoSQL. External data migration with an API or something that you know that will be helpful. Continuous learning and model updates, as I mentioned before. You can use this model to work, to learn in this, to take as a base. It is completely open source, completely free for whatever that see this video, to anybody. After that, the consumer preferences, to know and understand that and make intelligent decisions of investment, and digital transformation, that is some related with AI and buyer experience, and the macro conclusion with a really good image. I like to put some kind of image to illustrate some simple context in these spaces of recommendations, of explanation, because it can be more soft to explain different and to open the concepts with not hard code. This allows us to be more open, to learn and to understand all the process that are showing before, as I mentioned, the title. And thank you for this space. If you want, we can connect on LinkedIn. I post too much content related to technology industry. Inclusively, we can work in different projects. I try to share too much value, other GitHub repositories and projects in which I work. Inclusively, you can see other playlists of YouTube in which I share more content, more value related to technology industry. That's all. Have a nice day and look at the other content.